All right, welcome everybody to the Bookmap Academy meeting. We have this every Thursday, or try to do it every Thursday. Last a couple of times we had a vacation day, and then I was away for last Thursday. So welcome back, and the goal here is to open the mic for you guys to go over your trades, your journaling, and then to give you coaching and mentoring and feedback on your content. This is all part of the Academy program, and if you're not familiar with it, I'll just briefly go over it here. Just go to bookmap.com, then click on the More button up here, and then go to here under Community, Bookmap Academy. We've got a really great community in here. A lot of guys making some excellent trades and documenting them. Trading and journaling is a skill that to hone and get really good at that, and you'll be a much better trader. So you can apply here. You can read through the web page here. You can get Bookmap for free if you make it through some of the steps. You can get the MBO bundle for free if you become a coach like Jack and Stan in here. You can get data for free as well. And you can even take it to becoming a Bookmap streamer if you want. So it's a pathway for you if you want to take it further. Anyway, sign up and get your spreadsheet and start journaling, and you'll be good to go. All right. So general disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so we got some winners from our Blue Jacket competition. And Alan, congratulations. So 3 months of Global Plus with stocks or futures data as you prefer. And then Rob gets 1 month as a runner-up here for with Global Plus. All right, we haven't seen much from Rob except for this some of this Blue Jacket stuff in here, so that's good. But Rob, I'd love to have you back. And let's see here. Let's jump in and get going with some of our files here. Okay, and let's see. This is yours, Jack, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do Steven first.
Okay.
Since he's active right now. Yeah, he's second one right there.
Oh, okay.
Scroll up a little.
Right here.
Up a little. Yeah. Right there. Yep.
Okay.
Can we get Steven?
Yeah, Steven, come on up. Come on down.
Testing.
Yes, there you are. Excellent.
Awesome. Not like last week or a few weeks back, actually.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
So this one's really tough because we don't really have a lot of insight, but what I really kind of like about it is that like we're seeing something that's not really working with you. Like you're capturing it, right? Like you're journaling that moment. And I think that's incredibly important, right? Because when you're capturing the moment when something's not working for you, you're really getting kind of that raw emotional feel, and you'll be able to journal it properly. And really, like what you see here in your comments are like you wanted to be short and you ended up getting stopped out, or you ended up exiting for your position, and the market ends up dumping. So we can really kind of see that. The issue I have with the short here, I like you actually being stopped out here. I think that you probably should have got out earlier. But I do think that you have two specific trades, or like you want to zoom out your time frame so that you can accept that higher potential risk here for this initial stop out and then take that potential move. And that's kind of the biggest overall critique that I have with this. Can you tell me a little bit about the trade? Why were you short?
Why was I short? Just hold on. I'm busy.
It's Monday. Or Tuesday, sorry.
I thought the overnight high was gonna hold. I was seeing sellers come in, and I took a short.
So it's because the overnight high.
Can I see the timeline at the bottom?
Yeah, it's 10:04. It's 10:04 your chart time.
10:04. Oh, so this is after 30 minutes.
Yeah. This is your opening range.
Okay, so what I remember and what I can see here, My first trade was a loser because I trailed my stop to break even. And then, anyway, so what happened was the first few minutes, buyers came in and then they exhausted at overnight high. Then I entered another short and I ended up taking a partial. And then I saw this pullback and I don't know, I just got fearful and I just pressed exit and I exited out of the trade. It's okay exiting. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
should
no,
have
it's totally.
instead I should have instead waited for some structure, and then I would have seen that these were late shorts that were getting squeezed, and then another second impulse went in to push the market further down. And that's what frustrated me about it. And I thought, this is perfect to throw it into the academy. But
Yeah,
not
and
only that, for
you
myself.
can also see you get some stops there too, right? Like some stops really starting to get hit there. So it's kind of exacerbating some of the price.
Yeah, but this was pure, fear of loss, FOMO. That same feeling.
So,
they're very similar.
One thing that I've done to kind of combat this, when I see a pullback, right, is I really like to draw on my charts. I really feel like annotating my thoughts as the market's moving keeps me engaged. That way, when I see these pullbacks, I already have like some annotations. These are kind of where I'm thinking. This is what I was thinking when I got in the trade, and it will help you get that kind of structure in your own head and not have to rely on the market structure so much. Because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be waiting for market structure to develop and this short continue to give you pain, right? Like you want to be able to make that decision more quickly. So one of the things I think that would be really great is just drawing on your charts just more actively. And it doesn't necessarily need to be your Bookmap chart, whatever chart like you just annotate on a lot. And it doesn't need to be formal, right? Like some of the things that I say to myself, I'm not going to, write down in my formal journal later on. Like I delete some of this stuff. I call myself some pretty aggressive names. That's why I don't necessarily have a problem with getting fearful and taking an exit out, right? It makes sense. So, but I would definitely work on those things. That's one of the things I have here for you. I approach this from 2025 New Year's resolutions. One of the things that I want you to try to really work on improving is consistency in setup and rigid rules while documenting those rules. I think that if we can nail down the documenting those rules and getting those rigid rules locked in a little bit better, and maybe doing some of these chart drawings, and you can always send them to me in DM, that. That will help you like get some of this established and not have some of those kind of like gut shot reactions where you're jumping into a trade too fast or jumping out of a trade.
Yeah, that's why it was important to me to like, let's get some publicly, what they call it, get publicly shamed.
Public shame. Yeah, it's not really what you're doing, but yeah. It's like accountability, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the whole community process is about. That's why we all put ourselves out there, right? Is some of this accountability.
And if I may share, so I ended up exiting and I missed another impulse down, right? And then I was like, okay, so I ended up posting this, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. And then I took the next short, and of course I didn't. I don't know, I probably was triggered or something. I'm not too sure, but I didn't notice that it was shifting. What the market was telling me, like, okay, buyers are stepping in here, and then I kept taking a short, and it just slowly started creeping, and it was squeezing the shorts. And then I think I took like another 2 or 3 losses. I'm not too sure now, right now. But eventually it broke above the IB high and overnight high, and I just called it a day. And I was like, you know what, go do something else, walk away. So
these are all very important things to make sure you're journaling. Like I said,
I
threw it in the thing so that everybody can read that. This is great to start 2025 with. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot of time into, like I always say, I'm trying to push this trade plan, and it's what you just stated now. Get those concrete rules, and to be able to manage your risk properly, and also those checks to see that you're still in flow and the market hasn't changed. And it's kind of challenging, but you have to knock your head a few times, and then that's actually when you should dig deeper.
Yeah, and the community is going to really help there. so when you go to read your Notion note later on, you'll get to the last paragraph or whatever, and you can see at the bottom that the last sentence is literally, this is to the general audience, not specifically Stephen, because it talks about you collectively. Like, you're gonna miss moves. You can't capture every move in the market. Like, these kinds of concepts.
Yeah.
I'll be posting that publicly so everybody else can see, but I just want to let you know that that's there too, because it's not directly, like, I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking to like the general audience, because you know these things, and that's exactly why you're working on them. That's
Yeah.
the core of what I had
funny.
for it.
It's funny how we still repeat it when you know it.
I mean, that's why we have the community and we have accountability, right?
Right. Okay. Cool.
Bruce, what else do you have here, buddy?
I'm sorry. Let's Stan. Why don't you give your feedback, and then I have a few comments, but I think you're going to probably preempt exactly what I'm going to say, so I'll let you go.
I think the screen was other.
Actually, I can't see like properly where you enter like short.
Oh, it was higher up. This all I was documenting here was my emotional exit.
Yeah.
I can. Oh no, it's going to be hard to get right now.
No, we don't. We didn't have it. I took it literally as
Alright.
what you were talking
Yeah,
about, Stephen.
This was just a pure manual exit. You can see there's no stop, there's no trail line. It was just me going, oh, exit, because I was scared of giving profit back. I had already taken a scale. Check the screenshot on the bottom right. Maybe there's any detail there.
I zoomed in. I couldn't really see it very much.
Yeah, you can't really see it.
Yeah, but that's something that we were talking about working on. That's the notes that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is pure trade management, which
great.
didn't end up well.
I mean, yeah, maybe adding like some exit criteria. As for example, Blue does on some of his images.
Stan, it's a little hard to hear you. I mean, maybe the microphone sounds like it's really close, but you sound kind of muffled. Yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Much better.
All right. Yeah, perfect. Sorry. So yeah, maybe some to add some exit criteria and just to fix your plan, and to be sure then you have good reason to move away. Because in this case, obviously, when we see after the move, it's easy to say maybe it was FOMO, but maybe just bias way back and could take everything away. So depends how your plan was and if it was part of it or not. So adding some exit criteria might be a good idea.
Ideally, the exit criteria is where the targets are at. But yeah, I jumped the gun here. But I put a little note there for myself. I should have waited a little bit. I should have seen how price reacted. Would it find support at what I'm saying now? Obviously, is hindsight on the POC line, or if it fell through. And what I was noting is it fell through. But it's amazing how the market can go just to where. Well, I have other examples where I trail my stop lower to like a previous lower high, and it will knock me out still. and then the sellers will step the gas and take the market down. But I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but great. That's a lot to add.
So I kind of I echo both you guys, your comments. Stan, what you were kind of getting at was what I was going to mention too, is like where's your checklist? And maybe you have it, maybe it's just not in the image. But and then Jack was saying that too, like learning from your mistakes, becoming more kind of like diligent with your documentation. The checklist is the vehicle, I think. And then you can always go back and adjust your checklist. But you know, when you have like you know some quantitative data to make that decision to adjust it, but the checklist will help you, and it will also help you with these emotions, I think. So try that, Stephen, because otherwise you just kind of, I mean, it's just, you know, kind of marking up these areas of I you know, I had FOMO here, or I was afraid of this or that. But you have another kind of layer of to filter through before you feel those emotions. That'll be your checklist.
I threw in a slide. You can see where I entered on this second trade.
Is it in
It's
here?
it's in the chat. Yeah,
Oh, it's in
go
the
look in the
chat.
chat.
Okay.
Yeah. I never put it in here because I didn't feel like
Yeah, no, I understood what you were
I
doing,
didn't want
Stephen.
to. I was supposed to dig deeper and you know like, but I was just like, you know, the emotions were still fresh and I was just.
Okay.
You can see
Yeah,
where I
I
entered.
totally get what you were doing. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I take it
and it,
exactly the way you did it.
no, it's cool. And then there's my first target, and then obviously the prior slide that we were looking at has where I exit. And you can see, so I entered short 2 contracts, and then eventually I trailed my stop, or oh, was I looking for another? I was actually looking for another short. I was going to add. You can see a limit there on the right-hand side. But then when I saw the buyers coming in, I felt, you know, it was obviously emotions being triggered. I felt like, oh my God, this thing's going to come all the way back up. Let me just exit.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I add a third contract. Well, it wouldn't be a third. It would be a second one because I took a partial.
Uh-huh.
But that will answer your question, Stan, that you were asking. No checklist, but I still kind of followed my checklist because it's a pullback, wait for buyers to exhaust, sellers come in, and then short.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the break of that trend line.
Okay.
Just for more context, I didn't know this one was going to be pulled up.
I wasn't intending to go through the whole trade. I was just talking about the emotions and like what we can do moving forward, you know?
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, like it's a hard thing to do. I find, at least, but a suggestion is when you see what you're doing. I mean, this is for anything in life, really. And you know, you did something wrong. Well, like, don't do that again. You know, it's
You
so
always do it again.
simple. It's so simple,
Right.
but it's so difficult to. It's kind of a negative. It's not a positive. You know, it's like, oh, that didn't work. Well, I'm not going to do that again. You do that enough, you're going to be left with the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so um, I don't know. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying to work on that, and for many different aspects, uh, and it definitely applies to trading.
Yeah. Well, that's why I mentioned on the following trade, I was like, I'm never going to do that again. And you know, that's recency bias. You know, like it's amazing how we flip, you know, change and. But you know, it's obviously something that's very common with traders,
Yeah,
which makes it a good teachable moment.
yeah. No, thanks for sharing. It was
No
a good
worries.
one, and
I
Jack.
don't like to share winners all the time. Not that I have many, but like, you know, it's not good to always show winners. Show some times when you struggle. And yes, this is that
Absolutely.
example.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Jack was
Accountability.
saying, like, yeah, it's really great that you do, because we can learn most
Right.
from those,
Yeah.
especially when you're trading from the chart. I mean, that really helps. Now we know, you know, where you shorted, and etc. Um, anyway, let's see. Jack, we want to move on.
Yeah. So I have D&T Matter and Trading is Life. So either or works.
Okay,
All
I
right.
think.
Thank you.
All
Take care,
right,
guys.
thank you, Stephen.
Bye.
Hold on a minute here. Get to file. Okay. And DNT's in here, so I don't know if
Scroll down if you wanted to.
is trading
if you wanted
with
to him.
life in here. I think he might be.
They were both here.
He is.
Uh-oh. Oh, something just happened. I'm not sure
Hello?
what happened there.
It looks like Stephen may have someone has accidentally ended the stage. I'll just restart it. If you could share your screen again, please, Bruce.
Okay.
Interesting.
He shouldn't have been able to do that though. No.
I don't know.
No.
Okay. Okay, so DNT's still in here. So why don't we?
So he's trading his life. Both of them are here.
Oh yeah, he is. Okay. All right.
He's raised his hand.
All right, let's bring him up.
And then we can go to the top of the document. So while he's popping up, I will talk a little bit about what's going on here. So this is some of the first content we've had from him. And so we see some of the same things that we see from a lot of individuals. A lot of information, but what the information is actually telling us and really kind of digesting that information, it's really tough. Like, what are you supposed to be looking for with respect to order flow and liquidity, and what should you be annotating? These are all growing things that we see a lot of. One of the first critiques that I had here was everything's really zoomed out. Like, if you look at this, we can see basically 5 hours of time, maybe 7 hours of time, all zoomed out in this. And it's really, really tough to see what's going on with respect to like the trade and like what exactly the strategy was for entry and exit. So these are kind of important concepts when you're kind of journaling something. When you zoom out, you want to have a narrative for why you're zooming out, right? If you're looking at several hours, what's the narrative for while you're looking at those several hours? And then zoom in and give us more clarity, right? So if you wanted to be long, why were you long? And that's some of the content that I have here. You took a long off of VWAP on your notes here, but why there and why not when it broke VWAP before? Or what content or what action within the actual order flow told you that this is the point where I actually want to be long here? We're finding support here. That's missing from the overall document. You're very well probably looking for it. It happens all the time. It's just you want to include that in your trade setup and in your journaling, right? Because those are the things that you're going to need to look for when you're trying to figure out this quantitatively. But that's kind of where I had here.
Okay, great. I mean, trading is life. This is what we do in here. I think you're kind of new, but we, if you have an open mic, you're invited to the stage here. There you go. And then you can, give your justification or what were your thoughts in this trade?
Yeah. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a great community. I'm learning a lot from everybody's posting. Just to answer Jack's question, the reason I entered the trade at that particular place is due to the fact, as you see the space where I have the arrow between the VWAP and the dot, it shows that the buyers are truly strong and it's away from the VWAP. And as you can see, I went long, as it continues to go up, is more space between the VWAP and the dots. So that was my choice of deciding to enter at that particular place instead of the bubble below it where it was actually at the VWAP.
Okay. I don't know, Jack, if you do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add, additionally, I'll close it up. The reason why I opened it up is so you guys can have the full vision of where where the price action coming from and to where it's at. That's why I kind of opened up the space so you guys can really see where, kind of have a full vision of where we were and where we came from and where we're going.
Jack or Stan, any comments?
Yeah, I find great like the structure. Like we can see like potentially a trend line then break after the VWAP pullback, and yeah, the entry seems good. Like I like the bias that came in. Um, yeah, and yeah, just went through liquidity, so yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, as Jack mentioned, maybe more explanation to give us more, yeah, more clarity about the trade. Um, but good, and maybe adding a checklist. If it is always the same setup then you're taking, uh, it might be great to grade every parameter. So yeah,
Yeah, I
thank
kind
you.
of I agree. Well, again, with with both you guys, like it's like there's something more I'd like to add in here. There's a simplicity to this, and
It's
and the higher time frame that I like a lot. Uh,
oh,
so the way that you kind of that you outline this. Okay, so you're a VWAP trader. Now you're looking off of your VWAP. You're looking for order flow off of that area, and you've got some technicals in here. You got your VWAP. You see a trend line break, but then what you said was really nice. It pulled away, and it pulled away on big volume. So this is your checklist, and you've it's very simple. It's a very simple trade, and or setup, and you know, it meets your criteria. You take the trade, and in that regard here, like you know, this I think this is good documentation. I think a checklist would be a lot better to see, and like we always push for that in the academy. Uh, it'll just help you stay more on course. And but you've got your simple setup here, and highly effective. You know, there's other things in here. I mean, you say pre-market. You know, this huge rally. This is a pullback. It's a pullback to an average. It bounces, but you said here's where you really saw it, right? It is hard to give, like Jack had mentioned, it's hard to give you feedback on some of the details, because is it this right here, or is there a big volume dot over here where you're like, aha, okay, it exhausted out here. I see the buyers come in here. Now I'm looking for the move, and that would be good to see. And his comment about a higher time frame, a little bit harder to read. I agree. But on the other hand, I mean, you're following your plan. This is your setup, and it's highly effective. It's really nice.
thank you.
I, I don't know how long have you been using Bookmap?
Just started,
Oh, you,
maybe about a few months now.
okay, okay. And yeah, stick with the community in here, and kind of dig in deeper. And but you're off to a nice, really nice start. It's also kind of funny in here that I find, like your markups in here. It would be really good to see more order flow markups. I didn't know until you mentioned this volume dot here. It would be good to know that. And it's funny though. Like I kind of feel like we go through ebbs and flows. Like this is a very simple setup, and you know, we'll look over at like John 412's content, and it will be very similar. And he's been trading for quite a while, and knows exactly what he's looking for, and it's very precise. Uh, and it's kind of like coming full circle from something kind of simple, and then we get really complicated, and then we get back into the simple thing. And so Anyway, I hope you can avoid all of that complexity, but more kind of maybe clearer understanding in some of these areas in here in the order flow. Like, for example, here's something that Stan had mentioned up here, this chunk of liquidity that's kind of hidden. Well, you're taking your profit up in that area, which is great. You know, to see the context up in here, like this is pretty aggressive. These are passive orders, but they're being aggressive in the sense that they're below the swing. And it might be kind of hard to chug through some of this high liquidity up in these areas, and it certainly looks like it's transacting in here. So, you know, did we get a pullback? Did we get a reversal after that? I don't know. Looks like it would probably get another pullback and then another kind of move higher. But yeah. Anyways, maybe some more details in the order flow, and we can give you better feedback.
Noted. Got it.
Okay. Excellent. Let's see. Jack said he just had to jump out for a moment, but we've got D&T Matter next here. So why don't we invite him up to the stage and see if we go over stuff here. So yeah, thank you, Trading is Life.
Thank you.
All right, D&T, how are you? No, nothing yet. So I guess we'll go through. I mean, you got your profile charts and whatnot here. Open up the Bookmap one. Got a lot of trading activity in. So yeah, still no mic D&T. But what the heck here are these all take profits in here? This is amazing. Great trading. I mean, he nailed this range.
Really.
It's hard to read. I can't see if these are where the buys and sells are. It looks, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trading activity.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Wow, sorry about that.
No problem. So walk us through.
Okay, what day? Let me see, hold on. Oh yes, okay, so this was yesterday, I think. So these were just yeah, this was like a range, and I took a light entry at the beginnings, and excuse me. So and I'm entering on singles here. And so yeah, it does kind of look it does look pretty cluttered actually. But the green circles are the entries.
Okay. Yeah, and then here's an exit here or a partial, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, that was a 2-piece entry, so that was 2 lots. So yeah, that was a partial. The second was taken at the first, yeah, right there.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. The first right in the middle. The first pink line in the middle.
Okay, right
of the
here.
box. No, below.
Oh, here, I see it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're just playing to the top of the range basically in here, front running a little bit.
Yeah, I normally try to pick up like 3 lots. I'm trying to treat it like real trades though, like a real account, and NQ's pretty pretty tough to trade. I mean, like here it's, it trades clean, but then it also sometimes doesn't, so it's hard to work it. So I'm mostly just kind of focusing on using single lots,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of treating it more like a zone. So when it comes in, let's say it picked the zone or it enters that zone, so I'll enter, but and then when it comes out of the zone, maybe I'll enter again.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of like this, kind of like that, right, where your pointer's at now. So it's coming back into this middle zone, but it didn't really hold it. It kind of like kept pushing through lower and lower, right where your pointer's at now. A little to the left, yeah. And no, those are 15-minute increment time slices here,
Right.
so
Right.
it's a little bit, it's more yeah. So the entries are a bit. So like we're at 10:45. Yeah, I was hoping that level would hold, and it didn't really hold that well. So it kept coming down and down. But see, if I had entered in singles instead of kind of like rushing my entries, let's say I entered once on that first circle, and but then again, my stop would have to be kind of wide. So NQ it's a tough B.
Yeah.
And it could have just kept going down through that zone. So I mean, I figured it's probably best just to keep my stops, take my stops, because my take profits, I could take like 2 or 3 stops before, and then if I actually do get a winner, and my runner get hit, or if I get my runners, then it kind of takes care of like 2 stops or 3 stops.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with just taking the stop, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like, so yeah, it's starting to unfold for me, like well anyway, like maybe bigger picture, like justification for some of these trades, and checklist. I know you've been working on a very long and detailed checklist.
Um, well, the checklist that I have, it's not really long. It's like 5. I have like, I don't know if the next picture might have one or not. I think there might have been another.
So
Yeah,
I don't know, we've got
Photo.
maybe
Oh
this one
yeah,
here.
this one here. So this doesn't have a checklist either. No, yeah, none of these look like they have a checklist then. But no, I do have a checklist. But it's just not on this one or on the image above it.
Okay.
But I normally like to see the zone get picked first, and then I'll enter. Like ideally, that would be the ideal entry is the checklist, and I'm considering maybe just sticking to those entries and not really taking these like preemptive entries. Notice how like price came through to these zones, didn't really quite pick it. They kind of just I preempted the entry, and then it picks it. But the ideal entry would have been to wait for the pick. So I mean, it's a tough
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah, there's your connection is not too good. You kind of are fading in and out, but I think we
Exactly.
can hear you pretty well. But yeah, I mean, like you're getting in quite early on some of these, and I can't really quite read all of this. So what you got stopped out looks like here. And then he entered again here, more also here, and then I'm not sure what I get. This looks like more entries, and then maybe some take profit here, entry here, and then I don't know where the rest happened. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it looks like you're just kind of it looks to me like, you're aggressively scalping and reading the order flow, but it just I don't know. Maybe you can tell us more of what's going on behind it. Because it's hard to give feedback on this.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully you can hear me better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a so in the box. Okay, so the context is two-sided trade. So you can still, this is my worst context, man. So I struggle with it. I have a hard time with it. So we see that price kind of impulses down on the very left, and then price. I'm anticipating, and then it comes all the way down, picks these zones. I'm anticipating the price to go back up and break out. And it kind of does, but it doesn't really, because it's chopping here. It's in this balance for, like, how long is that?
Long time, and then it breaks out and
Yeah, like an
fails
hour
too.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So so the context is two-sided. It's already like a context that I struggle with a little bit. So I need to be patient. And this was even before London closed. Um so I basically need to kind of so this is actually was a key, I think, for me to really kind of focus back on time of day again. Because when I was trading this, I'm like, well, I initially entered just trying to scalp, and then I found myself kind of getting drawn into it, like sucked into it, and I realized I was messing up. So this was really kind of a mess up trade. This wasn't really what I was trying to do. This brought me back to what I was trying to do before, which my focus was trying to trade time of day. And the time of day here was the London close pullback at 11 o'clock. And something I noticed at around 11 Eastern is the market. Let's say if we're kind of like in a trend, let's say the market's kind of going up, which it was, and that's why I was taking these longs. Well, I didn't anticipate it properly, the 11 o'clock pullback, and that's kind of my time of day thing. Like what I'm trying to get back to is I'm trying to refocus on that. So, yeah, now I have alarms like that go off like right at, 15 minutes before 11 Eastern. Anticipate the pullback, so that way I'm not getting caught up in that. Look at that 10:45 like chop.
Okay. So
So it was
do you
Go
have
ahead.
like any kind of quantitative data on that? Like what if you're looking for time of day and price action to coincide? Like how
No,
many?
no.
Maybe like because if it's more of a kind of a gut feel, it's hard to lean on that. I mean, maybe if you could kind of back test that, and you can go through your higher time frame charts on that pretty easily, and pretty quickly put together like 10 or 20 days, which would be a great start. It would tell you a lot about is your assumption right on that, and if it is, then that's something more you can lean on, and then you can start to look for the order flow to support that theory.
I know that'd be nice. And then that's a good point. I probably could go back and do that. Um, I know we talked about time of day quite a bit in the past, and like we never actually listed it out, like what we actually look for during those times of day and what actually might happen in those times of day. It's more of just we brought it up, and it kind of just yeah, we found some cool stuff, but we never actually listed it out or wrote it down
Is true.
or
Is
anything
true.
like that.
I'm guilty for that as well. Like during the 10 o'clock webinar, usually we get that opening drive, and then during that time, even on really strong trending days, we get a reversal during that time. But I don't have any sort of data to document it. That would be a worthy study for sure, and that's something we would lean on, and utilize for those times of days. Like, okay, so we're looking for that, we're anticipating it. It is more likely to happen than not, and then we can look for it instead of just like, well, I've seen this so many times, blah blah. Yeah, that might be true. It might help, but like really, when you've got something more tangible, you can really lean on it a lot more. You've got numbers on.
Yeah. So this kind of brought me back to that, because it is important, and I do see that more often than not. I don't have the data, right? But that 11 o'clock pullback does happen a lot, and I just kind of got caught up. So this really was helpful to kind of bring me back to that.
Okay.
Um,
Stan, do you have
yeah, go ahead.
any comments?
Yeah, but as you had for me to say anything, I mean, you had your plan and you apply it. Yeah, maybe take a good number of trade like during weeks or to maybe build confidence and to have faith in your stat. But yeah, not a lot to say. It's hot. Yeah, it's scalping. You have your reason. So yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, it was kind of like Steven posting that image where he messed up, and this is kind of like that. So yeah, it's a good reminder of what kind of to rehone in and refocus or readjust.
Yeah, but that's great. That's experience. Uh, it's like yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was just lucky it kind of worked out.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah. I mean, like, here. I mean, this is and start to put some pieces together. Like, you've already got it here, which is nice. You start to mark up your ranges in here, right? And you can kind of, again, by looking at even this kind of simple data here, you can start to piece together, well, what's the expected kind of range and in the NQ for today, and then
Yeah.
you can start to piece those things together, and then once you have that, and you can start to look at some of the top edges and bottom edges, like this top edge up here. Where is that volume trading? Like you can see it now, and well, obviously in hindsight, but look at this. Look at the volume here. You don't have a big volume dot there, but you certainly have the bars. You've got the volume dot here, and there's your bar. This one's not helping out too much, but this one is, and also this one. So you've got volume here on the upside at these levels up here in your range. So the more the likelihood is more for a breakout, and it did exactly that, and it did it exactly into high liquidity, and then it failed. But starting to put together, and this is more price action and a little bit of volume and liquidity, but there's not a whole lot here to go through in the order flow in my mind. But start to put some of those ideas together into a more cohesive plan, because you can all that back and forth and is building volume up in here. Here's your slider pullback in here, and you'd be looking for high liquidity in here, supporting it, and then be really great to see some volume dots right in here, and then up here you did get it, and then you can look for that break. So I just again, just these aren't this isn't really so much feedback. I think it's more of like just kind of looking at things, and then it opens it up for study for potential setups.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You mentioned something really important, I think, too, on NQ and on ES, which is you kind of looked at that range, and you can really use that to kind of I could really use that to gauge my entries. So instead of entering with like 2 lots or 1 lot or something like that, it's a pretty wide range. I might want to be a little careful on my entries, right?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
it's you'll have to kind of piece something together, like what's the justification for getting in, like down here. Maybe this looks like to me it looks like a great entry, especially if you had volume there. You'd have to have the volume to um, support that, because if you get the volume up at this little top range, the likelihood for it to trade back up into here is a lot higher. So I don't know, just kind of going over some things in general, and maybe it's helpful to marry some of the swings with the volume and price action.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got for you. I don't know what happened to Jackie. He said he had to kind of jump out, but I guess he's someone
Okay. Cool. Cool.
hit my mailbox and took my neighbors. Wow. Jeez. Okay. I hope you're all right, Jack. Jeez. Uh, anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Deal with that. Deal with that. Don't
yeah,
worry about
please,
us.
please. Anyway, all right. So yeah, let's move on. It's too bad David wasn't here. He'd be able to give you maybe some more feedback on the London close, which I know he's
Hmm.
really into. Um, so let's see.
Oh yeah,
Starseed.
I'll be all over that.
This is recorded. It will be up on YouTube. I think actually, Dan, this one is live right now. In fact, and open to the public. So yeah, you can even go to YouTube, but it's best to stay here in Discord, so we can go over. You can add your comments here. We're not really going over comments in YouTube too much. All right, so let's see here. Stan, I think you're up, and thanks, DNT.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
thanks.
And let's
And I have Shaq Baloo, so I don't know if you want
yeah,
to jump on the stage.
okay, yes, Shark. Let's get Shark up. Okay.
So, um, yeah, we can just go a little bit above and see how much detail he will put in his note every time.
Am I
Um,
audible?
Yes.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
How are you doing?
I am good, thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, I just want to say, yeah, great job. So I was, yeah. Um,
Oh,
so
so
I
one
really
one
like.
thing real quick, if you look at the date scan where it says Tuesday the 17th, I that was actually I cut and paste that top, so that was the 21st Tuesday, which was that same trade that Steven just showed.
Okay. Ah, yeah. All right. Great. And yeah, that's perfect. And so I was, yeah, amazed about like how much detail you always put in your notes, like your exit criteria, the key level that you're looking for, the macro view. Yeah, that's yeah, that's just impressive. That's yeah, that's a strong work. And then you will even add like with Bookmap all the other flow, like the liquidity, the behavior, and so yeah, we can jump into, for example, the
Wait,
first
this one.
images.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
yeah, we can see like in Bookmap where you enter, why you enter. Um, you recognize like exhaustion. You enter with status conviction. You took your exit as mentioned in your exit criteria. I mean, like it seems you have a lot of confidence. Um, that's as usual the same setup, your ABC pattern. So yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything about it or.
I've been I've been working on trying to dial in like my confidence and conviction in this setup. I've added another key level that I'm learning from one of the guys that used to be with Axia. So I'm trying to look at this through a wider view and at a higher time frame level. And when that's incorporated with my trade that I always show with my supply zone and my 1-3 reversal, I wanna learn to trade with more leverage and kind of take advantage of what futures offer. But in order to do that, I need to dial in my entry and my stop. So that's kind of what I'm working towards as I do these trades live, and then I come back and I replay them and try and kind of fix or tweak the little areas where my not my thesis was wrong, but my execution was a little fumbly or flawed. So this is a replay of a live trade, and similar to what Steven talked about, you know, I think I had two really good entry points. I plugged in the lower order above 65. The order below that I plugged in, and then when price moved above my key option reversal, which was from the 6th of the month, I added a second order. You know, I was highly confident in this move. So that higher order triggered first exactly. And, you know, kind of just sat there, literally basing right on that level. And then as that exhaustion happened and it grabbed that second order, that book sweep just happened in an instant, like Steven mentioned. I mean, it flushed fast. And it definitely triggered me emotionally. In the real-time trade, which is in my CQG account, I got out a little bit early of my target where she kind of rolled over a little bit at it was actually at the previous day close, which was, let me see, I'm gonna get this on the other chart here.
Yeah, the result chart.
Yeah, right at 55.25, she rolled over a bit. And as she rolled over, I manually closed I closed the trade.
All right, yeah, a little bit on the
I was following it down with the stop order. So I didn't in real time I didn't take it all the way to target like I did in this um in this replay trade.
Uh,
yeah.
so do you
But
mean
the
this?
flush happens fast. Where you see the two green dots in my entry, the two green circles,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yeah,
red circle is my exit.
yeah, exactly. And due to the VPI spike, you decide to set your limit front of the liquidity, or what was the reason to set your limit at this time?
That limit was was a little bit above my trendline pivot low, which you could see that anchored VWAP come from. Yeah, you could also see it on that chart too.
Okay, so but this is what you're talking about in here, right?
That yeah, that's one signal I look for to just cut a trade. If I see that, you know, it tends to roll over, and I'll just cut it. You know, I'd prefer to just get out and then look for another entry rather than, you know, take a big giant ride back the other direction.
Right.
Yeah, and
But if
the
you go back to
VPI.
the other chart, Bruce, the footprint chart,
Yeah, we
You'll
can
see the green anchored VWAP. It's anchored to my trend line pivot low here on the lower left corner. And that liquidity with the green arrow, that was my full target.
Up
So
here.
I set my order to take me out, a little bit before that target. I don't want to. And it did literally bottom tick right on that trend line pivot low, but I set my order to grab me out. I think in that case it might have been a couple of points shy of that target. Exactly. Yeah, and she eventually literally bottom ticked that level had I stayed in, but
yeah, but
this
yeah,
also shows, Bruce, what we had talked about, where I'm trying to look at exhaustion on through a somewhat wider view,
Yeah.
sort of I've been calling it donkey face exhaustion.
Yeah, I like it. And that's where you can use like CVD as well to kind of see that a little bit, maybe a little bit easier. But I mean, you'll see it in the volume dots at the edges anyway. Yeah, it's you nailed it. I mean, my God, what a move! What was it though that made you so confident about this reversal? I mean, you've got your options level. You have high liquidity up here, getting filled, um, and then you've got higher liquidity, coming down a little bit more, and then you saw your exhaustion in here, is what you're
You
saying.
see the vertical white triangle where I say the vertical right triangle right in the middle that goes all the way across the chart top to bottom. This is what I've been looking at, learning from the older Axia videos that were put up by Brannigan Barrett. These are like 6-year-old videos. Yeah. So that white box, if you look at the bottom where the volume increases and delta goes from buy to sell,
Yeah.
that's one of the signals that I'm learning from Brannigan's videos, that volume increase and a delta reversal. So I've been looking at where I'm also seeing liquidity, as well as my setup that you're familiar with, the the supply zone and the 1-2-3 reversal. And now I'm starting to look for this, not so much as an entry signal, but as a place where price is highly likely to pull back to and then reject.
Yeah, nice. I love it. I mean, like that. I mean, this is good. This is great order flow trading in my book. I mean, you've got like high liquidity up in here. You've got an options level. It trades into this high liquidity, and now you're looking at the aggressors in here, and you're seeing like, well, this kind of delta here. Look at your delta across the way here. It's positive, positive. Okay, a little negative here, but positive, 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 negative. Right?
Yeah, then we also get an increase in volume, a delta reversal. We got that liquidity absorption and then consumption at the top.
Yep.
And if you see the pink dashy line at 68.5-ish that I have up higher. It's a pink dash
Oh yeah, here.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the key auction reversal that I'm looking at from the 6th. So that's 2 weeks worth of trading days ago. We had a V reversal exactly at that level.
Oh, got you. Not
And
an
then everything
options
kind
level.
of falls together. That level, the liquidity, the supply zone, and the 1-2-3 reversal all coincide in that area. So that's what I'm looking for, to be confident to use a size that I'm not typically using. I want to push myself past my comfort zone into my discomfort zone so that I can start becoming more comfortable using more size to take, like I said, to take advantage of the leverage that futures offer. And this was a really sizable trade. You know, kind of made my day for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it really builds your confidence. And here you've got your exhaustion. You can kind of see it in the footprint chart. It looks like 9 contracts or so, or just very little on the way up, back to this little previous swing. And
Yeah,
then
and that
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that spot lines up with the price change divergence.
You mean
So kind of multiple signals that I have exhaustion coming in.
got you.
We can see it in the first images. In the
Okay,
first
so
image.
the price change, market pulse price change is what you're talking about.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that market pulse is so good.
So
We can see the exhaustion and the entry.
Oh, I am mistaken. I was actually thinking of my trade today, Bruce, but that, you know, that exhaustion is still what I'm looking at.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like you get the F out signal here as well.
I'd like to start using that as a place to scale rather than just cut the trade. But you know, in order to have runners, I need to be in the trade with some more size, I think, you know, so I could cut the bulk of the trade and then leave something behind.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, you know, that's some questions. Like, we'll have John up in a minute, but like, you know, talking about trade management and marrying that into your setup, uh, which is key. And like, you know, he pays himself some, and then he gets his runner. He's always making sure that like he pays himself something, and make the pay for the day. And then try to get eke some more out of it. But he's good. He's
And
good for the day.
what do you guys think? Do you think it's better to try and keep a runner in there for a larger move, or just cut the trade entirely and then free your analysis up to start looking for another better entry?
I think it goes along with your setup, and what you're looking for. I mean, like look how it stair stepped up and then elevator drops, right? And it I think you nailed it here. Like this was the higher liquidity down at the bottom of this edge here, and you got out right in front of it. Fantastic. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. You know, and also ATRs, like, you know, this was a really big, quick, violent move. And if the market gives you that, take it. And because, you know, maybe it's fundamental data or something, and then it might move a million points the other way, you know, or continue. But like, if it gives you this quickly, it kind of meets a criteria for me. I take it. And you know, and look for the next one. It just frees up my mind, and gives me confidence. And because this did pull back, now I don't know where it pulled back to and continued, but like the pullback's pretty steep. I mean, at least 50% so far. Well, almost 50%, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd rather just cover the position and look for another opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, like build it. I think the most important thing is build confidence. Um, and when you're sitting in that mindset, like uh, you make better decisions. So, John, mind if I'm going to invite you up here if maybe you have some comments on this. Really like your trade management, so try to get some feedback here. Yeah, I don't know if he's even listening, or maybe he can't at the moment. But He's here. He's in here. And I don't know, Stan. What do you think?
Yeah, depends of your personality.
Yeah.
I think you just should do like something that resonates with you. If you're more comfortable to just take all out at the time, that's great. Just do it. If you prefer to have one runner, yeah, there is no one good answer, I think. Depends like how you feel about it.
I guess my confidence in that particular situation, like this one, I was highly confident in. But I that confidence for me was get to the trend line pivot low in the demand zone, and that's where the trade ends.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
that's it.
go. I'm sorry, Stan. Go ahead.
I don't know. Go ahead. That's it.
I mean, like in this one here, you know, I would be looking at this. I mean, you know, you've got a range. You went through all your reasons for your setup and your higher time frame, etc., which is super important. I love it, Shark. I love that you're going over that, and then you're looking at the details here in Bookmap to get this, and that's awesome. This is beautiful stuff. Um, the just order flow wise though, like, you know, uh, right in here looks like a good place to take some off, or even here you've got your VWAP, or I don't know what, some of the anchored VWAP and maybe VWAP in here coinciding with liquidity. To me it looks like a good area to take some off, but you didn't. You were looking for this, and you had your reasons for that, and you got it.
And that flush happened fast, Bruce. It was really quick.
Yeah, 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 you nailed it. And yeah, this is beautiful. I mean, for all
So I guess
sorts of
the
reasons.
only question I have for you, Stan and Bruce, is what's the best way to start moving into that discomfort zone of holding more size in in an actual account, right? Because I don't feel that discomfort in replay or in paper, but if I'm trading, if I'm trading my account, that's the feeling I need to work myself into. Do you have any advice for that, like learning to scale in?
Stan,
Right.
you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, just, yeah, you have your setup, you trust it, keep it simple at the beginning, and feel comfortable with the size that you're willing to have, and then scale. Uh, yeah, a bit when you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's wise advice. I mean, like when you look at your trading journal, and I don't know if you have one or not, Shark, but like you can use the one in Bookmap. And let me see if I can bring mine up here. And a lot of changes to it recently. Um, but okay, so yeah, here's mine, and mine's not a good example because you know I'm doing all sorts of stuff in here. This is during competitions or testing before a competition, I believe. And then this was actually erroneous. This shouldn't have happened, nor should have this one to the upside, to be honest. And then there was all sorts of like year-end stuff in here that I didn't have time to really trade much. But like, so not a good example, but like what I'm trying to get at here is when you start to see the green and you start to see the building, this gives you a lot of confidence. And you know, you'll start to feel okay to and know when you want to start putting some size on. And you'll get more and more instances of the trade, and being able to scale it. And again, always the question is though, what if I'm wrong? Okay, how are you going to deal with it? And make sure that you can control the risk, and not have it blow out your confidence. Because like you take a trade like this one here. Now again, this was actually an error. I had 100 contracts on, and
Damn.
then there was, it was at the right before the open, and then I lost data, or it was something really odd happened, and like all of a sudden I was filled, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And then I got back in again, or let's see, there was some other trades, but I got back in again, and the same thing happened, and it worked to the upside.
In the other direction.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, see, I'd hate to see a drawdown in my equity curve like that in my money account, you know, not my paper.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
This will kill you. This will kill your confidence, right? Then you don't know what you're doing. So avoid that. You know, build slowly. There's really funny data in here. Like, you know, it's not really a good example. Like in this little area in here, like from the very beginning of this, we traded very small size, and like one lots and stuff, and then we had the ability for competitions, and then everything kind of changed. And if I go back in here, like this little area in here was a struggle, or not a struggle, but like, let's see if I can find it. Wait a minute. On March to, should be plenty of freaking trades in here. Okay. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, but it was kind of a steady rise over time, and then went from one lots to like 10 and 20 and 50 and 100. But anyway, I think you get my drift. Like, I think you'll be able to answer that question for yourself. What is
Well, I appreciate the advice. I seem to be getting comfortable in the 1 to 2 mini range in a trade like this that I have my entry criteria, like all of it's triggering. I'd like to learn to step that, you know, I'd like to learn that to eventually step that up 3, 4, who knows, maybe 5 someday.
Yeah, and I think you can. And you know, you hit a home run here. That's not going to happen all the time. You know, maybe it comes down into this area in here, and then it bounces back up. You know, but you'll be able to control that risk, and that's where, like John, I don't know if you're back, but that's why we invited you up here about your risk management. Because you know, you could hold for this and wait for this, but maybe you don't pay yourself every day, and then that doesn't help your confidence. And maybe you get one of these, but you have a lot of losses along the way, and you'll have to answer it for yourself. I think it's very personal.
Well, fantastic advice, guys. I really appreciate it as always.
Yeah, well, it's always so easy for us to sit back here and armchair quarterback it, but I always hope we can help, and I really appreciate it, Shark. Thank you. Thank you for such good, a really great progression, and really great content. Like Stan started off with, you know, and it shows. It shows. You know, you're putting in this effort. Here's your criteria, clear as day. Here's your exit criteria, clear as day. You know, you got your key levels, you know what you're looking for. You've got a name on your strategy, everything. And then the results speak for itself. So great work.
Thanks a lot. I'm gonna keep grinding.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right.
And then, yeah,
Who
there
else do
is
you have?
one more trade. Or so yeah, and
Oh,
that's
this is Shark again.
yeah, exactly, a second trade.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if you want to go through. That was apparently more choppy day, and this
Okay,
gives
yeah,
you
let's
like
Shark, you're not done yet. You're
uh,
not off the hook yet. So we'll invite you back up, and
Yeah.
we'll go through this one here.
Okay, well, we can make this one real quick. I don't want to eat up the entire sesh. This was yesterday. This is replay as well. I did not get, if you look to the box to the right, I did not get any of my key levels in that chop. And I had only the first 90 minutes of the session to trade. I'm doing some stuff at the farm, which I haven't been doing lately. So I only had 90 minutes. So I decided to turn it into a practice session of looking for that volume delta reversal that I was talking about and just finding some small point to point scalps off of the liquidity, which you'll see in the footprint chart. So this is kind of a remake of my live trade yesterday. And so this isn't my trade strategy that you typically see. I mean, there is a 1-2-3 reversal followed up by a 2B reversal. The first two trades came out of that. And another 1-2-3 reversal where the third trade came out of, where you see the donkey face exhaustion. But the two red boxes on the bottom are what I'm talking about when I'm looking for that pivot that I want price to come back to and then reject, right? Increased volume and a big delta reversal.
Yeah.
Increased volume and a big delta reversal in both of those areas. And when price revisits those levels, it rejects it and comes back down to the lower end of that consolidation, which was super tight. It was like 7 points.
Yeah, this is great. Great stuff. I mean, like, um, uh, you know, it's too bad AJ's not in here because you know, he's more of a footprint trader, and he's got his own proprietary stuff that he looks for. But this is such a good one. I know exactly. Well, I'm pretty sure I know which Axia video you're talking about. I've seen the same things over and over again. Like, and this is such a good one of showing this. I mean, look at this, 1200, you know, versus minus 41 versus plus plus. Okay, so here's your first reversal. Here's your double top. Here's your other one. And is it not telling you even more volume here, total volume, and then you've got more delta. It's telling you, it's giving you a real nice signal here.
Yeah, it plays really well with my trade model, you know, that I have. It fits right in like a puzzle. It's working out really great. I'm gonna keep working with it.
Yeah, great. Well, then mum's the word. I don't want to like say any more. I love it though. It looks fantastic.
Okay, thanks guys. I won't take any more of the session's time. I really appreciate the advice as always.
Yeah, but good job.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Shark.
Then we have Rob Davis.
All right,
I
we've
don't
got
know if
Rob,
he's here.
and Rob is here. So let's invite him up to the stage. And Rob, get your mic all set up.
Yeah,
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah, perfect.
All right.
Great. Do you want to go over a bit?
Yeah. Why don't you walk us through a little bit, Rob?
Okay, the image is a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read. I can't see what it says. VPOC here.
Yeah, VPAC migration. It was a first leg with conviction, and
First
then the
buy.
liquidity fill.
Oh yeah, this is the same setup. I just do day in and day out every day, and it's the same process. You know, I pretty much have the same checklist going on.
Yeah, we can see
I'm
your
using
checklist in the 4 images.
Okay.
yeah, so I just same process every day, and I've got my volume profile chart. I've got my my options levels, which I just reduced from from putting the whole mag 7 in there just to the Qs and NDX. Because I found that was just produced a little too much noise on my chart having all of mag 7 in there.
Okay.
But this is oh that looks a lot better now.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Dan found it. Perfect.
Yeah, so basically just like our good old continuation video, same thing that I'm looking for, seeing that leg go up, and then getting in on a pullback, and I see liquidity above, and I have some options levels. There's a GEX level there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the spots I got out.
Yeah.
And a lot of my trades they don't end up, they're not intended to be scalps. But then just because what's happening on the order flow, I'm just going, okay, I better take what I got on the table right now.
Yeah.
And look for another one, and then that gives me a buffer. I get one win, then I got a little bit of a buffer, because then I'm going, okay, I'm up 200. Then I can be like, okay, I can afford to take 1 or 2 losses here, and then just keep pushing ahead with it. But it's a lot of the same stuff we were talking about last time, and same process and everything. Ideally, I would hold on to some of these trades a little longer. That one right there was pretty good. I think that was around $600 right there.
Yeah, great.
So
yeah, it seems so much improvement. The chart is it's very clean. You know what you're looking for. As you said, as you mentioned, you've done it like 100 times, and that's great. You apply it. You know why you're taking it. You have your checklist. You set multiple charts. Yeah, great. Ready.
yeah, and after a while, because I'm doing top step, trying to pass that evaluation, and it has all the data built into there. You have to wait for it at the end of the day, but for whatever reason, I have trouble getting my my Bookmap web trading journal to stay synced. Like it'll lose its sync through the day, so I end up with missing information in there. So I rely more on the top step one. That's giving me a lot of the same data, and then I'm right at about 100 trades now, where I'm just doing the same process, and it shows I have an edge. So, I mean, you guys were talking about the emotional part of this before, and part of that's having that edge, because then you're going, okay, here I've done this same thing like 100 times, and here it is saying that I've got a pretty good edge going on, and then just keep kind of rolling with it, and these options levels I've been using. I'm no expert in options. I don't know all that much, but I know how to put a little roadmap together here and see, what are the puts and the calls doing? What could happen at these HVLs? I'm trying to use those as higher time frame targets. Most of my trades end up as scalps, but they're intended to go much further. Every now and then I can hang on to it for a while and get a pretty good runner. But was there anything else? Or?
Stan, do you have any comments?
No, that's great for me. I just found it was a good one. So yeah. Bruce, I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah, I think so. Like, well, first off, way to go, Rob. I love it. I mean, I really, I'm just, uh, my warms my heart. Like you, it seems like the pieces kind of came together when you had a little bit higher time frame roadmap for yourself, and these options levels really helped you with that. Or maybe you, because you've been going over the continuation pattern a million times, and you know what it looks like, you know how to trade it, uh, but now you've got another context in there. I don't know if there's something you want to mention that you found helpful.
Well, it's a lot of stuff me and Pete were working on, pretty intensively for a couple of months actually. And he had got me all into these Mentor Q options levels and putting it on Trade of 8. And so I have those two charts kind of up as my roadmap. I have a separate one it's just got ETH and RTH volume profiles. It's got your IBs on it and different levels. Yesterday's high and close, open, high, low, close for different days and weeks and things. That's kind of on there, and then the other one's just my options levels, and then I have that add-on in Bookmap, so that puts those end of day futures options levels in there too. But yeah, I mean, it's like you're saying, it's this correlation of the having my higher time frame stuff, so I can grasp a little better, where is this likely to go in the order flow, which is where I'm operating. That's where my eyes are a good 80% of the time. Is watching what's happening in Bookmap, and I'm just trying to, keep getting this same kind of move that we see up here over and over and over again. And most of them are just, it's like deja vu every day. It's just kind of like the same thing going on every day. But yeah, I'm right on the edge of passing that top step. Wasn't feeling too good for a few days, but I think next week I'll probably have that thing passed. And I'll try to. I forgot there was some kind of rule change to it, but I might try to have 2 or 3 of those accounts or something, so I can skim a little bit off the top of each one. And protect them from, because I'd have multiple ones. And we've got that new multi-account trading capability now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sorry to hear that. I just talked to the developer for the trading journal today, and I mentioned that about it's not synced sometimes, and that it kills me because sometimes I take some great trades and like it's not in there, and I'm like, ah. But the ones I always seem to take that are bad are always in there. But that's not always true either. But it just seems like it. The We'll work on that, Rob, and then we're also working on that. The multi-account tool works really well, so you can trade off a bookmap into your top step. As long as you only trade into top step, basically, and you're only trading NQ, so it should work real well for you. There's no limitations there, so you can trade from Bookmap, and um, should you can spin into multiple accounts if you want.
I would just start with. I might be thinking a little too far ahead, but I figure, I'm pretty sure I can have I think I can have 3 of those accounts and be trading them all at the same time.
Yeah, no
on
problem.
NQ.
It's very easy. That's exactly what it's for. That's why we developed it. The let's see. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's kind of a bunch of things in here that like I can kind of mention, I think, but I don't know how helpful it's going to be to you. Maybe some, because like on this this breakout or flag type of pattern or continuation pattern trade, you know, looking at like, sorry, up in here, looking pretty good compared to down here, you know, more buy, more buy. It tests down here again and we get buyers. They come back and retest up here and we get more buyers. Okay, so looking pretty good for a breakout. And surprisingly, it does not trade up to this liquidity, but it blazes right through this and this here. And then you can see the floor set in after the breakout as well. So great. You know, now you can you just sit back and you let this happen, and now you're looking for the pullback. Pullback is pretty choppy and pretty hard, and I think you had the right idea here. Again, if we look at this compared to this, I think it's doing it. I would probably go for it right along with you here. And it just chops, and even here at here I would really anticipate the move, and it doesn't. You know, you get one more deep pullback, bottom of the range, get everyone stopped out, and then it doesn't even look too good. Here it looks okay, starting to look okay, and then it doesn't really look okay until right around here, and then and you just target your high liquidity. But anyway, just trying to go over entry, and I don't know. It's kind of a tricky one. It's a very strong move. It's a very shallow pullback. These are all really good things, but this kind of back and forth and choppiness in here is kind of way to hold it and way to go with it. I probably would have done the same thing in here, but you know, after you see this kind of rejection and you see these buyers come back in and it goes back up again, looking pretty good. So you guys have seen me in the webinars many times. I go in here or I go in here and I get stopped out, but we get back in and we take it back up. So this happens. It happens again and again and again. But we should look for it and even consider maybe half a position, you know, and half a position after it trades into that liquidity. Maybe that's a way to kind of break it up a little bit. But you know, these are strong, powerful moves, and you noticed it. You're a buyer, and you got your higher time frame map in front of you that matches with liquidity. Great stuff.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly on that day, I think there's some call resistance above that.
Okay.
If I forget which day it was, but I mean that's something I pay close attention to. Also, is where's my call resistance and put support.
Yeah.
But I mean things are working out pretty good. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Sounds great. Do you have any other questions for us?
I think that's about it for now.
Okay, great. Let's see here. I don't know, Stan, if you have anything more.
That's good for me. That's great. That's
Okay.
the best thing. Keep doing what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, this is pretty beautiful stuff, Rob.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Guess I'll let you put on whoever's next or whatever.
But there is another trade if you want.
Let's see here. This one? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess we should look at that real quick.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, that one's a little bit fuzzy too, but you can see the same kind of theme. It's it's like a reversal happened there, and then I could, at this point, kind of tell, okay, this looks pretty likely, there's continuation, and then I basically did the same thing again, just waited for the end of this reversal, and then I started to see that continuation move happen.
Yeah. So this is your entry here? So
Yeah,
so here and
that's a
then
little fuzzy.
exit here.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good move. I think that was right around 500-600 or something. And some of these, I mean, there's always that risk with NQ, but if you're fast with it, it's pretty good.
Yeah, the momentum moves in NQ are they can be really, really beautiful. And if you can grab them, and they usually go for a while. And I'm surprised. Okay, there was a little bit of a pullback here, very shallow, and then it continued again. Yeah, beautiful stuff, Rob. I mean, like it's I like this entry. There's a couple things that maybe like it's a little too close to me for like this swing or this swing up here as well. But you notice again the momentum, the shallower pullback on lower volume, and then buyers coming in again and again, and then you actually in this one you kind of waited for it to push through, and then you got in, and I mean you're still riding the momentum for sure, but yeah, I mean, it's just it. I'm sure you've had it happen many times. It come back and retest here, or even retest back down here, or maybe even it fails, depending on the day. Like maybe you got like it trades up to the top of the range, and there'll be like, I don't know, some sort of trend line like this, or a more aggressive one here. It'll retest that and break it, and so where are you putting your stop on something like this?
Yeah, I usually try to keep the stops pretty close. Like when I see that momentum going and that thing starts to just shoot off, I make sure I'm at least break even, so I'm not losing money on it.
Yeah.
And then I just, I mean, I don't intend for them to be scalps really, but I'm not going to let that thing, move back against me an inch when these momentum moves happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I can just sit here, these momentum moves, they happen all the time. You can sit there and get like $200 off them pretty easily, and then just be like, well, I have a buffer now, so I can attempt some more later. So I keep my stops pretty tight. I'm just not willing to take any losses.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we'll revisit in the future. As long as it's working for you, man, like keep moving forward, keep going. It's really great stuff, Rob. And like I said, it's heartwarming to see.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Rob. Really, really great content.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's see here. All right, so I think that's it for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So, let's see, got some people. Let's see here. And the only one in the room is John. So, John, I don't know if you're able to come up to the stage or not, but we've got some trades for you.
Yes, sorry about that before I had to step out.
No problem, no problem. It was advice on Shark had and or question Shark had, and also Rob a bit, or maybe DNT on trade management and the way that you manage your trades and pay yourself. along the way. I don't know if you just want to talk about that for a moment while I find your trades here.
Sure. Well, it's all based on liquidity. So I look for those liquidity levels where I can take a partial profit, and then move my stop up. And I try to limit my exposure as much as possible. So after I take that entry, I map out kind of like what you're showing on the screen here right now. That first target level is always at a liquidity level, or at a key level, a key gamma level, or VWAP. One of those three, because you never know what these things are going to do from moment to moment, but that's a great way to be consistent. Once I get that first target off, I have a winning trade. I bring my stop up, and then I can think clearly. There's no pressure. I'm using their money, and I can just trade along. So that's been paramount to me. Many people think that you're taking too much risk at the onset, but because I'm able to get that first one off with a high rate of success, it does finance itself, and it finances me.
And like you said, so you're showing up for your job, you're paying yourself for your work,
Yeah.
and then you turn into more of a punter at that point.
I'm a paid trader. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be. I did not want to live the life of a speculator. I did that, and it was problematic for me. I wanted to have a budget. I want to pay my taxes. I want to pay in the Social Security. So I operate under the umbrella of an LLC, and so I'm an employee. And yeah, life is good that way.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's great to hear. It also like so. Let's just put finances aside. Um, but talk about how that affects maybe you mentally.
Yeah, well, the risk, as soon as you enter the market, it becomes uncomfortable. And that's a good thing. It keeps you alert, it keeps you on. And like I said, I just want to harness that risk as best as I can. And that's a big thing. Once I can get that first contract off, I can sigh a relief and then go forward from there. And a lot of times it'll bounce right back and shoot, it didn't, or that trade didn't work. But the key thing is I got paid to try. And you can have a situation where you can get paid to try this. It really puts success in your favor, I think. And that's what it's done for me. Yeah, but the key thing is having the liquidity levels to attract price up there. And so I capitalize on that. That's those liquidity levels are magnets. So I use it to my advantage and take profits and then go on from there.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So the so how do you deal with days where and I remember you first talking about this. These are 80% of the time, like it will hit your first target.
Yeah.
So great, you got your high probability trade and you scaled out. You've paid yourself. Now, how do you
Yeah.
manage it at that point? I can see it here. You're moving your stops up, but
Yeah.
you're still going to get a loss. I mean, like, suppose it hits, or how do you handle it on days when, so now you got one third, one third, one third. You moved your stop up to here,
Yeah.
and it's traded up to here. I guess this is where you've moved your stop now. Is that right?
Yeah, that's where I move my stop, and for illustration purposes, that's what I'm showing. I'm going to move my stop up, but if I see those pivot lows get taken out, I'm gone. So I would be actually a little closer to that. Give it upon what the market does, what the market presents itself. But I would, I'm moving that along in my dome, but I'm actually probably a little closer than that. I'm generally speaking, I'm pretty close to my entry as far as when I first move that stop up. I want to preserve those remaining contracts. I am trading multiple accounts, so I've got a lot on the line, and so I actually do run a little closer than what I
Okay.
can really annotate without making the chart look horrible. That's more or less a worst case drop dead type of following
Okay.
scalp technique.
Okay. So let me just kind of clarify. So first target hit 80% of the time.
Yep.
And now your entry is, let's say on average around in here.
Right.
And so now let's suppose this goes against you. So you've taken off, I don't know, do you take off half or do you take off more than half or?
Generally speaking, Bruce, it's half.
Half, okay.
Depending upon the size, it's either a half or a third. In this instance, it was probably a third because I had 3 entries there, so it would be a third and then hold 2/3.
Okay. And then now suppose this goes against you. Like there's days like this and it can be maddening.
Yes.
So how do you manage it at this point?
Well, I get stopped out on the other 2 and gee whiz, shucks, but I still made a little bit of money.
Okay. So you've got 1/3 profit
Yep.
and then break even on everything else on the rest. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
And it's unfortunately that trade didn't work, but I still got paid. It's still a winner. It still gets marked as a winner.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm just kind of, I mean, I don't mean to dig too much into details like and grill you here. It's just such important stuff, and it's really good to open the discussion to others. So but you've got more data than this. You can't, I mean, you could probably eke out a living with your 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 all the time, or 1/2 all the time. I guess you've got it set up that way, right? So that even if this happens minimum, this is paying your bills.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got
Yes. That first target level, that covers me, covers my expenses. The remaining contracts build the accounts.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, really, really great. And mentally, or first off, your confidence is higher because you took some off. You're making money, and then mentally and financially, you're covered. Yeah, really,
And
really
you
great.
can pick things along the way there where you could say, gee whiz, you could take, you might get stopped out here and there. But the other component that I think is important in my work is the option flow. And in a lot of these trades, and I remember this one, the option flow was just ballistic to the upside. So you can be a little forgiving with this chart. I mean, these are the futures contracts. They're not, you're not a bunch of choir boys in there. You have to give them a little space. But what does help me with the confidence is that option flow.
Yeah.
And seeing that flow, and I follow not only the S&P but the SPY, and that helps me as well. And you can look at those different things once you get that first contract off. I can't hardly swallow water until I get that first contract off. And when I get that first contract off, then I can start looking at these other things and saying, okay, where are we?
Yeah. Yeah, nice. I mean, clarity and reason and logic comes in easier after that first contract is off.
I mean, because you have so much riding on it. I don't have a job. I don't have something else that generates revenue. This is it. And so it's my way of being careful. But all the things on the screen, from Bookmap and combining it with option flow, getting that first contract off makes it all possible. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Stan, do you have any comments? Anything you'd like to bring up?
No, that's great. You have your setup. You have confluence with options, future, liquidity. You have your checklist, money management. No, that's great. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess another thing, John, that is really, really beautiful here is this is actually something that Slowdown mentioned about his documentation and journaling. Is being very conscientious about your journaling and marking up your charts. Uh, and you've gotten more and more refined over time here. I'm and it's yeah, okay, it's for us too, and you're communicating to us, but this is really clarifying your setup, I imagine.
Mhm. Absolutely. Especially usually those first three steps, they're always the same because that's my process. Looking at liquidity, looking at gamma levels. Gamma levels are based upon yesterday's close. They're based upon settlement prices. So looking at liquidity and where that coincides, where that layers on top of gamma levels helps to verify that those levels have been confirmed for today. That's what the liquidity does for me. I've got an option level out there that says, hey, this is a level of interest. And that's how I use those gamma levels. I just mark them as levels of interest. And then when liquidity overlays those, it's like, okay, that's an important level right now in real time. And then it's just a matter of following the order flow. But the first three things is where's VWAP, where are the levels, and then what's the option flow doing, and that's delivered by Hero. And that's been really helpful because I'm not an options guy. But the great thing about what Brent does, and I think he's a true pioneer in this work, that he's taken this very complex subject of options and different strike prices and different durations, and he's distilled everything down to a line. And he says, you can look at that line as the option flow up, down, or sideways. And as a chartist and a trader, that's all I need. I don't need to go any further than that. So it's been a great marriage of those two technologies: option flow with Spot Gamma, and then order flow with Bookmap.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful. It's great, John. I mean, like, yeah, kudos to you. I just love the journaling along with uh, your the way you're articulating this. It's really clear. It's all here, um, and that kind of clarity is just very helpful.
One thing you may notice in this chart that I've seen the light with the delta dots um, by way of
Ah,
this room coming into this channel. I looked at that over the Christmas break, and I thought I better take a second look at this. If Bruce is doing this, I need to look at this, and it really does. I think it offers some clarity. I don't know whether it's this chart.
not this one. You can still see
It's
it
a
here.
total bar, but I have. You'll see it in some of my. I'm a little behind in my submissions, but I have actually think it. I like it a bit better. That is the delta dots.
Yeah.
Um, because I remember the one thing you said when I was struggling with Bookmap is that it is volume that moves markets, not trend lines, not Fibonacci, but volume, and that's been key, and that's what you can see on this chart.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The
Well,
green
sorry. Go ahead.
the green dots are leading the way up, right? So you want to stay long in here.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. There's another thing too of like, I mean, just some really beautiful stuff here. Like you said, you're looking at you're starting. Sorry, guys. So I'm going back to this bigger dot. You're starting with your VWAP. Then
Yep.
you're going to your liquidity,
Yep.
and then this is really nice.
Key
Look at
level.
that big level of liquidity, and it transacts.
And that's a key word for me. That liquidity filled. That's symbolic for me.
Exactly.
And what that's saying is that all that liquidity was filled. And I'm working off the premise that if that stop run down there, that selling is done by an algo, they're probably going to shut that algo off once all the liquidity is filled. So I mark that as liquidity filled to alert myself that says all the liquidity is gone. This may be it. Look for a reversal. But if there's still some liquidity left, and there was still some liquidity down there, which I was concerned with at 384. That is a key word for me. Liquidity filled means that there's nothing else left.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the biggest dot on the chart.
Yeah.
And this is this is how it works. These are buyers. Sellers met the buyers, and they had a little more selling pressure to go through. They almost made it to 84. But now we're starting to find aggressive buyers. And you noted it. You already noted your VWAP, and you noted your target.
Yeah.
It's I mean, there's another thing in here. Like we talked about some of your work in content before. Like there's kind of more than what we see here, or maybe it just needs to be articulated a little bit. And I just love seeing this. Like Shark had some great examples and content, and then also Rob. There's and now you, and there's a theme here: higher time frame, and then order flow. You know what you're looking for in your higher time frame in your roadmap. And then now you're looking for the trading and the orders to tell you. And then you're taking a position on that. And then managing that risk along the way to pay yourself.
Yeah, precisely. So I'm actually working in reverse when I have in the past. In my past life, it was always, let me get an entry here, then I'll figure out where the exit's going to be, or I'll let them take me out. Now I'm figuring out where the target is first.
Yeah.
Where I want to go. Now I'm looking at, once I establish that, because it's always by way of the levels or liquidity above, like in this instance. Once I sketch that out, it's like, okay, that would be nice if I can get in. That'll be worth taking the risk. And now we work on the entry. So it's almost 180 degrees. I've turned the tables. And, it's nice to have that. How else do you know where you're going to go unless you have a target to shoot for?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what those liquidity levels do. It's amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful stuff, John.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like the Tesla trade, where it's just telling you, hey, I'm up here.
Yeah. Come get me. Really. A lot of times you'll see there's another trader that was actually telling me about this. It was many years ago. You'll start to see like when even a little bit before that liquidity trades. Let's just put a line in here. Like a little bit before it, you won't see this target come in until just about a little bit before.
Yes.
And are you kidding me? It's like these guys here know exactly what they're doing.
Yes. And now with the program, so do you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see their footprints.
Yep.
So beautiful stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing more you've got to say. I mean, you've got your checklist. You've got it really well documented here. It's very simple and very clear.
Thanks.
And really, really great stuff. A lot of really great stuff today. Like I said, Shark, Rob, and also Trading Is Life. From a new user who's kind of this like I said, his chart kind of reminds me of yours, and he's kind of working from the bigger picture now, and then here's the details in the order flow that Trading Is Life. This is maybe some more stuff you can look into that might help your setup. Yeah, guys, it's past 6. We've been going for about 2 hours or more than 2 hours now. Let's see, who's up next? Well, there was RK who is we're going to go over, but he's not in here, and Sajoto, who's been also doing some really great content, and he's not in here. But guys, put in your fill in your spreadsheets with some of your trades, put them into the Bookmap Academy room. We'll go over them. Laura, we're going to go over you next time. You were on the list, actually. We just didn't get to you. And anyone else. So I think that's all I see right now. Laura, so you'll be pole position next time. John, thank you so much. Really, really great stuff.
Thank you.
Guys, let's wrap it up, and we'll call it a day. It's been a nice session to be back after a couple weeks, and we'll do it again next week. Yeah. Okay. So Stan, give us the final word.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
That was very muffled final word, Stan.
Yeah.
Okay. We still can't hear you. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you, coaches, and thank you, traders. Great stuff. And way to start off the new year here. We'll see you next time. All right. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.